56th annual Passover, the only Passover. Welcome to Atlanta. Christ is Officer 5000, Jeremiah, the camp leader of Atlanta. Passover 2025, starting April the 9th, we got the lamb slaughter. April the 10th, we got General Muhammad's class. April the 11th, we got the black party that's going to have the Hebrew graduation. April the 12th, in Atlanta, Georgia, the 56th annual Passover, the only Passover under commended junior honor.
Our great and holy King has honored us for turning our lives from the darkness to the light, man. There's no greater gift you can receive than to wake up to the truth and then commit your life to saving your brothers, man. Looking in their eyes and seeing their faces and seeing what they've suffered and what they've gone through and seeing the end of it, man. It is a guaranteed seat in the kingdom of heaven, man. So in the name of our King Yahushua, we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives being saved.
April the 13th, we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Shalom. Christ is Officer 5000, Jeremiah, the camp leader of Atlanta. Passover 2025, starting April the 9th, we got the lamb slaughter. April the 10th, we got General Muhammad's class. April the 11th, we got the black party that's going to have the Hebrew graduation. April the 12th, in Atlanta, Georgia, the 56th annual Passover, the only Passover under commended junior honor.
Our great and holy King has honored us for turning our lives from the darkness to the light, man. There's no greater gift you can receive than to wake up to the truth and then commit your life to saving your brothers, man. Looking in their eyes and seeing their faces and seeing what they've suffered and what they've gone through and seeing the end of it, man. It is a guaranteed seat in the kingdom of heaven, man. So in the name of our King Yahushua, we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives being saved.
April the 13th, we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Shalom.
Testing 1 2 1 2. Mic check testing 1 2. Right, give you a one in the chat. Right, if you know the audio coming in clear. Right, again, we are one in the chat room. This is Isupk Trinidad Tobago again under Commanding General Yana and Priest and Officer Swapiala down here in Trinidad. Right, again, we understand our purpose in being in the truth. And when I say we understand our purpose, I'm talking to brothers and sisters in the truth, because we have a role and a function to uphold, which is the repetition of the Lord, because the Lord repetition would stand at stake for brothers and sisters, keeping and upholding what he had set before us. And this is why, this time, especially when like these high holy days and these feast days, is of utmost importance that, brothers and sisters come together and gather ourselves together, just as in Zephaniah 2:1 said, right? You grab that just now. Because why it is important? Because without us coming back to these instructions, coming back to these records, we see the condition that we face on a daily basis. And our oppressor have no, as we say, more enjoying time than this when Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, again, the children of these records, which is this book, right, which is our recorded history, right, of this book, walk after their customs. Because when we move away from the traditions and the customs and cultures of our family or our forefathers, we, give ourselves or open ourselves to be oppressed by the ruling party, right? And tonight, is the Feast of Purim, right? And it is recorded in our recorded history, which is the Bible, right? And is a reminder to brothers and sisters that we should gather ourselves together on these days, right? So tonight we go, continue on, to read some more on the story, right? Again, just a backdrop from where we left off on Monday class, right? This sister by the name of Esther, in recognition by being being brought up right under a righteous black man. Never forget that. A righteous black man by the name of Mordecai, right? He being, family, as we say, to this sister, brought her up right. And what we were reading about is, these other nations, or especially our oppressor, which is white man, the devil that the Bible speak of. This oppressor take no joy or pleasure in doing just what he was set out to do and bound to do, which is to destroy this family line, which is to destroy this family house. And being or moving around his spirit, you as a black man, Latino man, or Native Indian man would become, his tool in helping with the destruction of the black community. And this is why we tell brothers and sisters every day to come to class, come to these feast days, come to these high holy days, because why? It's important that this is not religion, this is not the Christian church, and I put all this clear, straight. We're not affiliated. The ISUPK under Commanding General Yahana is not affiliated, and I repeat, not affiliated with no religious group or organization. This is where brothers and sisters come to get the full understanding and to shed themselves of, the conditions of this society. And this is why, again, it is of utmost importance that we uphold the traditions and keep the sayings and the teachings of our forefathers, especially in these last days, right? So we without further ado, right, we go jump straight into the book of Esther, right? So we continue on from the book of Esther, chapter 3, right? We leave off 3 and I will tell you where we are. 3. Start at 3 and 1, Baba Kusha. Right? Start at 3 and 1.
Kalanka. The book of Esther, chapter 3 and verse 1. After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
Right? So now this was a heathen, and this heathen, what we know today, is one of our oppressors. And we, again, these records will always stand and will always stand right. Because now, coming into the truth and knowing who our enemies are was the most important thing, or is the most important thing in the Black community, to understand that we have enemies. And if we don't understand that, these other nations will continue to thrive because they already know. Anytime Black people understand or come to the as we say, the terminology of knowing that these records belong to them, they would have to fall back and take their, as we say, their rightful position where they were set or where they were bound to, which is to be servants amongst us. And this is why they would take the full opportunity that they have at present to help or continue in the oppression of Black people. Right? So we're reading about this Edomites, being put over or being chosen to sit in a position right under the king. As second, as we say, in command, having charge over the king affairs, making decisions, with, the king giving him that authorization because of, as we say, being trustworthy in, carrying out the affairs of this king. Right? Continue, Baba Krishna.
Karankan, verse 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman.
How much it says, some?
All the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman.
Who we see in this place bowing to right now? And again, it's so biblical and it's so real that we see in the earth right now, as we say, or this society bowing to this beast right now. In, as we say, at present, who in, as we say, in Babylon right now, running the affairs of this society. This is what we see happening right now. Right? Go ahead.
Karankan. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not.
But who?
But Mordecai bowed not.
And this is a lesson for us today to understand that we shouldn't, as we say, bow or take any knee to anybody that sit or who the Most High God had placed beneath us. And the reason why we bow today is because of, as the scripture says, we will destroy for what? For lack of knowledge. He said, my people, didn't say everybody, he said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Right? Go ahead.
Karankan. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. Verse 3. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Verse 4. Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew.
So who Mordecai told that he was a Jew? The men that was sitting around him. Because remember now, they now will be conversing, and every nation or every people would identify themselves. So it's like, hey, who is Naya Chinese? The East Indian, the African. What? Who you is? A Hebrew, a Jew. A Jew? All right. They already know who he is. Today, we know that we are the Jews. Eh? I'll ask him. Today, we know that we are the Jews. Outside of the truth. Outside of this truth, we don't know that we are the true Jews. This is why the Most High God always had that remnant, always had, prophets, always had, righteous black men to make this communication amongst this family. And when I say make this communication, by upholding or reading out of our records, and that spirit of the Lord, would come upon these men, not just by, what the world or the term deemed to be, you get this Holy Spirit on you, and then you're talking into not that as you say, that bullshit, not that nonsense. We're talking about men reading and that vibe or that spirit, you're seeing. But wait now, they're speaking about we. They're speaking about this people. They're speaking about this nation. Because everything that I reading now, wait now, who going through this current situation today? Who, these, let me say, curses applying to today? Because now we say, every day we say, but like a curse, like something wrong. Now when you go and you read everything that align into it, so the Lord opening up our eyes to see that we are the people that align with these records and they belong to us. Right? Today. Go ahead.
Karankan, verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
We was?
Then was Haman full of wrath.
When these heathen and them saying that you ain't, as you say, you ain't bowing to the, as you say, the nonsense or the bullshit or the foolishness, they always get mad. And when we say bowing, it's like, hey, you ain't compromising with the nonsense because you realize you just on shit. You just on foolishness. You want power for what? Eh? For what? To demonstrate that, hey, I let you know to do this. And again, this is why, again, these records are so right. Because now it's stripped that's when the righteous authority, the whole earth is going to rejoice. Because now, as a people, understanding how to have, because we are the only people that have compassion, that have, as we say, that spirit to relieve or to let loose or to forgive. These other nations don't have that spirit. They could profess as we say, by mouth, but in reality and the truth is recorded inside it. Because the scripture, imagine you're reading this and the scripture inside this book telling you, never trust your enemies. Now you're going back and you're looking to see who my enemies is, by. Who my enemies is. And when you recognize who your enemies is, now you realize modern day by the name that they would be carrying, which was let me say the East Indian Elam, which is Moab and Ammon, which is modern day today the Chinese or the Japanese, the Arabs, which would be called, as we say, these modern day people, as we say, or nations, the Africans, which would be called, foot. The next one. We call them South African, them Egyptian, and them Mizraim.
Okay.
These are the names that they would be carrying today, modern day, right? So the importance of knowing this and us being, together as a family is let me say to the point where this is how we're going to maneuver through this life, through this society, because the scriptures tell us that this would be what in these last days. This would be a stability. This would be what is going to keep us, let me say, abreast, or keep us afloat, or keep us moving in this society. These records. With all these records, we are vulnerable to the elements that the oppressor continue to, let me say, to make legislation, to make law in his tenure, in his time of ruling, Right? Go ahead.
Karankan. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone.
Right? So you see? And why he didn't take thoughts on to lay hand on somebody else? Eh? And this is why, again, you see these records? These records will always stand. Will always stand. Right? Go ahead.
Karankan. For they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore, Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Assyrius.
What was his mindset?
Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Assyrius.
So now this was just as I see the beginning, his thought process. Everybody that was within that you see in domain or which part, that province that he was at that time. Before, as we see when you read on them, you go see how this beast, because of this brother not bowing, as I say, to no bullshit, to no nonsense, to no, as we say, to no folly, to no LGBTQR, to no abortion, to no Planned Parenthood, to none of these nonsense. You see the mindset of this beast. Because now what you stand for, the truth. You ain't standing for shit. You ain't standing for nonsense. And this is why now, without these records, we would always be victim to this society. And this is why I tell brothers and sisters, hey, brother, pay attention, pay close attention. Even brothers and sisters coming in the truth. Right? Go ahead.
Even the people of Mordecai. Verse 7. In the first month, that is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Assyrius, they cast pur, that is the lot, before Haman,
Right.
from day to day.
Right. Yeah, he's on the van. Because as I said, you have an idea. I want you, right? Because we all the people understand that where they were told the beginning of the year or January 1st, that not the beginning of the year. Because all person know when it's the beginning of the year. Now in the dead of winter. Now when everybody, as you say, in their homes or everybody hibernating like bear. Right? Just look up when the sun is about to show. You're reading on which way you reading? Where you reading at? Eh? You're reading on where you reading at? Which one do you? Esther 3. Eh? Verse 7. Right? You have it there, right? We'll read from that as well too. Yeah. Salaki, that gave me mic let you read by time.
Yeah, come.
And talk and speak up.
Esther chapter 8, verse 7.
Speak up.
Esther 8, chapter
Esther,
Esther chapter 3, verse 7. And from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month of Adar.
the month of what?
Adar,
What were you reading at? Esther 3 and what?
verse 7.
Go ahead.
And from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month of Adar.
You have to read a little harder. Let's talk a little harder.
And from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month of Adar. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people, neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
It is not for the what?
It's not for the king's profit to suffer them.
Give me a one in chat room if you read that reading. Give me a one in the chat room. Right? It is not for the king's profit. For what?
To suffer them.
Why are you saying it's not for the king's profit to suffer them? Because you have to understand now, this is a person that because you not bowing to his ways, he will do anything against you to destroy you. So why it is not for the king's profit? I don't get that. Why is not for the king's profit to destroy them? To suffer them, or to keep them. Let me give it for time because I will see. Because they're not going to, just like how they're not following his instructions, he deemed his instructions is directly in line with the king's instructions. So now having these people who doesn't want to follow instructions around is of no benefit towards having them being around in this, I say, in this place. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 9.
And
Verse 9. If it is pleased the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed.
If it what? Verse 9, we're saying verse what?
Verse 9. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed.
So why this, as you say, again, you see the spirit and this beast who rule in this place or who run it, in the things in the society, right? Because now, as you say, if it please the king, let him be what? Destroyed, right? You can give back. You find it. Or so you could get shy. You can read it if you want.
Yes, sir.
The book of Esther chapter 3. Come up more in front. Hold. I'm taking up this. Esther chapter 3 and verse 9. Right? Again, maybe let's get some quick shout out and Princess Nazam, Aya, Joel, Shalom, Shamata, Basham, Shaya, Kwa, Awa, Shalom, Shalom, Shamata, Basham, Shai, T. Williams, Shalom, Shamata, Basham, Shai, right? Again, these records are so important right now to us. We will even fathom to think or to, have within our spirits the importance of this. And again, Commandant General Yahana has been raising up righteous black men, throughout, the four corners of the earth as he was commissioned to do under King Yahweh Shai, and uphold that repetition even up to today. And that standard that we would come or gather ourselves on these high holidays and these feast days in remembrance of what took place and what happened to our forefathers, and read through these records and give the full understanding why we should not join allies or join hands with our oppressors. This is why it's so important. Right? When you have to take a read Bible,
Esther 3 and
verse where you finish at? 3 and verse 9.
So you're not 10.
Eh? Read verse 9 of Baba.
Esther chapter 3 and verse 9. If it please the king, let it be written that they may destroy.
Right? It's if it please the king, let it please the king that they may be destroyed. Go ahead.
And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hand of those that have the charge of the business to bring it into the king's treasury.
Go ahead. You have a little more context. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Abdiah, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy.
The Hamidiat, the Agite, right? The Jew, the who enemy?
The Jews' enemy.
I thought the religion or the Christian church say, God love everybody. There are enemies inside it. Eh? Lord are enemies. Jews' enemies. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemeth good to thee.
Right? So now when we go back, in the time, just earlier in the, let me say, chapter where the king chose Haman over all the princesses in the province. So this heathen, as I say, this Edomite, he was sitting like second in command in this kingdom, in this rulership of this heathen. So now, being, as we say, second in command, the authority and the power is like, hey, the king would entrust you with all his affairs. To see that, or to know that the position that you hold, you win, how will you say, you win, do nonsense or foolishness. Because now, you doing that, you would put the king reputation to question. And this is why now when we check and we see when men, as I say, especially in the truth, holding that position or that authority, the expectation that you hold it to that standard is very high. It's very high because now everything that above you will come into question. And if you bring that into question, notice the Lord coming into question as well. And what we see here now, this king give this, let me say, this beast the authority. So now he can request, and without any in-depth or looking into anything, the king will just authorize without question. Go ahead.
Esther chapter 3 and verse 12. Then would the king's scribes call on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king, lieutenants, and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every, according to the written thereof, and to every people after their language, in the name of the king Ahasuerus was it written and sealed with the king's ring. Verse 13. And the letter was sent by post into all the king's province to destroy, to kill, and to cause perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, and to take the spoils of them for a prey. Verse 14. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day.
So now after let me say the scribes came and they write everything that was, or let me say, that was told to them what to put on that paper. It was distributed. And Haman having, the authorization of the king, with the king's signature, he stamped it, and it was distributed through all the provinces. Right? Go ahead.
Esther chapter 3 and verse 15. The post went out, being heartened by the king's commandment, and the decree was given in Shushan, the palace. And the king and Haman sat down to drink. But the city Shushan was perplexed.
Right? And why the city Shushan was perplexed? Look up that meaning, perplexed. Right time. You get the meaning, you go say. Go ahead, verse 4. Look up Look up the meaning, perplexed. Go ahead.
Esther chapter 4 and verse 1. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth and ashes and went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud and a bitter cry.
So imagine you reading it, and where you read it, it's like, wait, if this applies to me, and not just that they're reading it, it in the actual letter, it's saying that your people or your family is going to be unalive with immediate effect in distribution of this letter. Right? Read the definition.
Perplexed, to make unable to grasp something clearly, or to think logical and deceivably about something.
Right? So it say that, but the city of Shushan was perplexed. So it say, read over the definition of Babakosha.
To make unable to grasp something clearly.
To grasp something clearly.
Or to think logical and deceivably about something.
So now it's like, where this is all about, where this come from? Right? Go ahead, read that. Go ahead and scripture.
Esther chapter 4 and verse 4. So Esther maids and her chamberlains came and told it her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent remnants to clothe Mordecai and to take away his sackcloth from him, but he received it not.
Right. So now again, the condition that we in trying to pacify us is an insult. We see the condition that black people face today. And you come in, with that sense of pacification, or I would say, to try to appease we. Because now it's like this. Any black Latino native Indian, I would say that whole certain position in the society, but always try to appease their family members, to move away from, a wrath that destruction that might take place, to this, as we say, type or people. And they, in their minds now, thinking that they working together with our oppressors, that they would not be how to say vulnerable to these actions that they would take against these people. But a right thinking person within their mind and understanding, as the scripture says, who the enemies is and identifying them, know that this would be just, I'd say, that tolerance would be for a while. Because now when they, let me say, destroy the majority, they already know that the remnant is not to deal with. So now they will pacify you and make you think that you go to go, now you got the one. Not knowing that they just using that to their gain and their likeness to make sure that when the majority of this people is put or I would say destroyed, then it will be nothing else. And this is where Mordecai will come back and let you know, hey, you will see as we read on Bible question.
Verse 5. Then called Esther for Hatshepsut, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know what it was and why it was. So Hatshepsut went forth to Mordecai onto the streets of the city, which was before the king's gate.
Right, so now the sister Esther, call one of, I'd say the king's what? The king we call the king's chamberlain, right? And he would be, one of the, I'd say, the personal shaman, right? Under the king. And he would be even looking over the affairs of the king's business. Esther was, part of the king's business because this was, as you say, she sat as queen within the king's domain. So now her request to him was, hey, go find out what taking place or what is this brother concerned. Go ahead.
So Hatshepsut went forth to Mordecai onto the streets to the city, which was before the king's gate. Verse 7, and Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasury for the Jews to destroy them. Verse 8.
So again, we really know, we see what going on. So now Mordecai sending back this message to Esther. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Also, he gave them the copy of the writing of the decree that was given in Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther.
So now we take this copy of this letter and say, carry this to the queen. As by explaining, let's read this. Go ahead.
And to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king to make supplication unto him, and to make requests before him for her people.
So now, remember in the early part where we was reading, it said that Esther had not shown, or make known her identity or who she was. Now, at this time, now we're charging her to make known this is who you are to the king. So we know that this letter is directed to who? To my people. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 9, and Hatach came and told Esther the word of Mordecai. Verse 10, again, Esther spoke unto Hatach and gave him commandments unto Mordecai.
Right? So remember, and this is how we as a people, it's like our first response in any matter or any situation that we're in is like, because being, as we say, when we hold certain strategic positions, we do get shake up unless we really get to find out the reality of what is going to take place. So it's like you seeing something before you, and it's like, nah, that ain't gonna be so. What we seen happening today, we see the same thing happening today. It's like, hey, nah, that go pass, that go pass. But the reality of it, what happening now? What we just read recent, we'll just come out in the article, I think, of some back, the little article we sent me about the UK. What happened with the UK now?
Oh.
No, I asking that. That what happened? We right and of some had sent me an article earlier, every day before, whatever, and we were showing when we used to travel, brothers and sisters from the Caribbean and Trinidad, we used to travel to the UK without without a visa. We didn't have to get a visa. Now, what they put in now you know, up to travel or to go to the UK, we had to have a visa. Now the Caribbean, as you say, what we call, quote and CARICOM, everybody bringing into question where this come from. Now they trying to dig up, as you say, certain things now to show this is where they stem from. Gang member, this and all of that is just, as we say, it's just to make these people feel that they know it is. Only the men inside here know it is and understand what it is. And this is why, again, with the reminder we tell the brothers and sisters, see these records, this period, we're reading about our history, where this sister, as we say, stand and what was right and be brought up by a righteous black man. It's so important in understanding the truth, and this is why men and the brothers and sisters in the ISUPK being brought up right is so important to understand that where our position or where our purpose in this society stands. If we stand separate, we again the get through. Psalm 83, the conspire, the plot work, the confederate against we, and name them. All of them that get through. But when we stand with the Lord say, fight for me and I'll fight for you. Stand for this truth. And this reminder had was to come back as the sister sent the reply one time. It's like what we call a wake up call to shake you up, right? Go ahead.
Verse 11. All the king's servants and the people of the king's province do know that whatsoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death, except such to whom the king shall hold out.
So she's sending this message to this brother. And sometimes, I always say, thank the Lord for the truth. Now, I give you instructions to go out, or to follow. Who with you? Vishnu, Shiva. Name some of them idols and the rock way just break down the other way that say, God, I give you instructions. I let you know, hey, go before the king. So now you telling me that how read some more about the show.
That's not who is not called, there is one law of him to put him to death, except such whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter.
Right. So she send back the message, tell him this is the only time they can go before the king. Unless the king is for that, then that person who come before the king with all that prayer, they're going to be put to death. Go ahead.
That he may live, but I have not been called to come in unto the kings.
So she telling Mordecai now in the message that she sent back, The king didn't send the force. Go ahead.
These 30 days, verse 12, and they told to Mordecai Esther words.
Listen the reply. As you say, our man or our brother understanding, hey, when you say, it really have no kind of, let me say, stability at this time, because now you have your nation and your people in the position that the matter that let us not go out throughout the provinces. So now we just have time. Remember the scripture say, tell the people them who going to prepare for that time. Go ahead.
Verse 13. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house.
Right. We say think what?
Think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house.
Don't feel your escape. Go ahead.
More than all the Jews.
More than who?
More than all the Jews.
You know that don't feel as we say. Don't feel black. Behavior black, as we say, behavior black side. Behavior black side. Don't feel your escape.
Verse 14. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall there enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed.
Don't feel that going to have throughout and coming straight to this house. Go ahead.
And who knoweth whether thou art come into the kingdom, for such is a time as this.
So he one time chapter makes you know that this could be part or a prophecy, that probably this is the purpose that you were chosen for this particular time, to come or to sit right under the king or the queen, and it will be recorded that today we can read about it. We can teach this to our sons, remind our daughters, remind our family, remind these people the purpose of recognizing and upholding and observing these feast days, these high holidays. You can come and sit in these classes, come and sit on these tables, and come and sit up on the podium. Chosen men that had been anointed by righteous black men to come and speak these words are reminder unto us. Don't think it's like you're watching our brothers and sisters, it's a Karaite brothers, children of Asher, even the children of Benjamin, children of Levi, right? We see the condition that we face today. Don't feel that we sitting here, down here in the Caribbean, and we sit down and we say, are we good? Come in. And then who we go turn to? We try to drum the waters. What we was doing to Asher. Following the East, and then I'm talking about, they no good. Commenting on their words and not knowing their body, not knowing their family. And in order to understand that, you must sit down in these seats. You must fill up these chairs, brothers and sisters. So when the children, as you say, when you read these scriptures, you can teach this to your children, and they know and understand that we have a history, our legacy, rich in culture. All right, go ahead.
Verse 15. Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. Verse 16. Go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast you for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day.
Anybody can tell who come upon sheep? Who come upon sheep?
It's like a fair. Fair come upon you.
No. You're right. The fear of the Lord in the beginning. Right? So as the scriptures say, just Christ even tell, his disciples as well. Say, don't leave this place until the word come upon him. The spirit. This that come upon she should recognize something. She recognized what Mordecai was bringing to her is something that was taught to her being brought up. This was taught directly and reminded her. Don't never continue. This is where it is. Don't feel that they sit in this position. Yeah, just as they say, don't feel like they sit down and they will come upon and destroy your father's house. Destroy this family. You reminded that. So one time, they click. And she know, hey, this is what to do. All right.
Go and gather together all the Jews that are present in Shoshan, and fast you for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, neither night or day. I also and my maids will fast likewise.
So she tell him, she brought his attention, pull her fast for herself, for yourself, for the people, the Jews, right? And she will do the same as likewise. Go ahead.
And so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish. Verse 17, so Mordecai went his way and did according to all Esther had commanded him.
And that was so, as you say, imagine a sister, in this spirit. And she's like, hey, we're saying is the right thing. As a father, this is what I want to follow your instructions. I want to do exactly what you say. And if it is to be, then let it be. If I pass, so be it. Go ahead.
Esther chapter 5 and verse 1. Now it came to pass on the...
Also remember that thing to eat if anybody wants to take anything, right? But the Shema Ego organize umbrellas. If anybody wants anything, you can always distribute it to them. Right? Go ahead, Sasha.
Esther chapter 5 and verse 1. Now it came to pass on the 3rd day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house, over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house, over against the gates of the house. Verse 2. And it was so when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to the Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near.
Stand. And when you look at that, and you say, that's some of the baddest sister, again, these women that say so-called black Latinos and intelligence, and say, some of the finest sisters that you would see in this, I'd say, this place. You didn't have it, but again, just as we tell brothers, Chinese woman belong to Chinese man. The East Indian woman belong to the East Indian man. The white woman belong to the white man. Black, Latino, and Native Indian belong to Black, Latino, and Native Indian man. This family. This is who we belong to. Right? Go ahead.
So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Verse 3. Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request?
Right. Go ahead.
It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom.
Imagine a king tell, hey, anything you want, be until half hour. Let's say we want. Half is yours. and again, this is why I know it's so important to understand the mindset and to know who we dwell around and their whole thinking and their mindset. Because they, without any reason or doubt, I would say they would sell out, their own. And we, as a people, we would always learn to defend our own. Right? Just for power, they will do that. We start to do that for power as well. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 4. Esther chapter 5 and verse 4. And Esther answered, If it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him. Verse 5. Then the king said, Cause Haman to make haste, that he may do so as Esther had said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. Verse 6. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom it shall be performed. Verse 7. Then answered Esther and said, My petition and my request is, verse 8, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them.
So now we jump ahead, yes, right? So now we tell she, this is where it is, right? Let me jump to you skip and you come to verse 9. So now all of that take place, right? So again, this book is a book of Esther. Tell encourage brothers and sisters to go and read it. You can go and read it. Wow. That's what happened. That's what happened. Yeah. It's something that you go read, right? And again, this day, this feast days are 2 days, right? Maybe jump to verse. Let's see. Right. Jump to verse 9 and 1. 9 and 1. Right? Right. So just a little backdrop on what take place. The banquet was prepared, right? The Haman, we just moving forward and we'll come back to that. Jump to verse 9. Right?
Esther chapter 9 and verse 1.
Yeah, 9 and 1, right?
Esther chapter 9 and verse 1. Now, in the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to put in execution in the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, true it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hate them.
Right? So after all of this, now the letters that went out to destroy the Jews, it flipped back. When I mean it flipped back, now it was the opposite. And this is why I tell brothers that it's idea is a place to be amongst your family. What is going to happen in a short time? Our enemies is going to fall and they're falling daily. Right? So you say the 12th month, and the 13th 12th month, right? At the month of Adar, right? At the 13th day of the month of the same month, right? This was given a decree. 12th month. Go ahead, read a little more about Bishop.
Verse 2. The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the province.
Right? This is a key part that we should understand. Because being scattered through the four corners of the earth, now, just like what about or brought out Monday, that where we reside in these provinces that reside in, they make it look modern day, reside down in Trinidad, in Haiti, Dominican Republic, Venezuela. All these places is provinces because now who we have ruling over these provinces, they can call sanctions at any time. See what happening right now. You ain't even doing nothing, but you're getting sanctioned for one. Eh? Go ahead.
Of the kings Assyrius to lay hand on such as sought their hurt, and no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all people.
Right? The fear of who?
For the fear of them fell upon all people.
Everybody who decides to lay hands on them, know that turn around. Right? Jump to we are read verse 3,
Esther chapter 9 and verse 3. And all the rulers of the province, and the lieutenants, and the deputies, and the officers of the king helped the Jews, because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them.
Because why? Now these letters were reversed. Mordecai became second in command. Right? Jump to verse 16. It's 16. Right?
Yes.
16. Yeah, go ahead.
Esther chapter 9 and verse 16. But the other Jews that were in the king's province gathered themselves together and stood for their lives, and had rest from their enemies, and slew of their foes 75,000, but they laid not their hands on the prey.
Always remember this. That and this is something that when we even read that we didn't take at this point. Because now we understood, as you see, our record and our history or past history amongst these people and what they did to us. And even in the time when the instruction was given unto Saul to destroy this house, right? He didn't take heed to these instructions. Right? Go ahead to where we at?
Going on verse 17.
Go ahead to verse 17.
Esther chapter 9 and verse 17. On the 13th day of the month of Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested day, and made it a day of feasting and gladness.
Right? Wait, see, on the what? The 13th day.
On the 13th day of the month, Adar.
That 12 months, right? Where,
We'll continue.
where,
And on the 14th day of the same rested day, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Verse 18. But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th day thereof, and on the 15th day of the same they rested.
right? So that 13th and the 14th, this is why now everything that we I would say that has been published, through all the schools, through all the ISBK schools, that this time or this feast that you say that that we had, the stronghold by this sister who stand, and follow the instructions of a righteous father, because the scripture say she was brought up just like Mordecai's daughter, and uphold to these instructions. It was requested by her to the king that these people wanted to destroy people. And even at that time, even let me just drop it back a little bit, the king went into his records, and was going through the records that was recorded, and he saw that this person highlighted or bring to notice that it had men amongst him that wanted to destroy him. And his question to the people who was around him at that time, what reward had this individual received? And same time, I would say this Edomite came in, or after having that conversation, he asked him what should be given to this person, and he laid it out. And within his mind, he thought it was about him, when really and truly it wasn't about him. And this is where we are right now, that Mordecai became, second in command in the kingdom, and every other nation within the kingdom or within the provinces had that fear upon them because of Mordecai, being sitting in that position of authority to make whatever necessary changes that was made before to these instructions that was recorded by this Edom to destroy all the Jews. Right? So again, as a reminder for us, today is, as the scripture says, 13th and 14th day and 12th month, which is the month Adar, right? So we know with the 12th month, we know, as we say, this is all physical year coming back, and we do, as we say, we don't look like how the heathen would look and come January. No, we understand that when the beginning of the year is, and that's why when we go back in the book of Exodus and we read coming out of Egypt, the instructions that Moses gave unto the children of Israel at this time, this is the time that that the Most High God will deliver us out of the hands of our enemies, and this is where we will be headed into right after this 2 days of feasting and giving all honor unto the Most High God for bringing again justice to the nation by the hands of of a righteous black woman who followed the instructions of a righteous black father. This is why we can be here today, because now our enemies sought to destroy or wipe out the nation, but the Lord had something else in mind. which is to uphold or to keep this people, which is his reputation, to continue to run this assembly, right? And again, sign that to brothers and sisters, again, to pay a Passover fee, go up on the webpage, isupk.com, right? On the, I think it have the Passover fee link, right? That'll be up on the chat, right? They have a QR code as well, right? You can scan and you can go direct to the link and pay that fee, right? Again, this Isupk Trinidad Tobago under Commanding General Yana, right? Again, Feast of Purim 2 days. No Lord allow, we come again tomorrow and we sit with brothers and sisters and break bread. With that, pass the class to Peace and of Sasha. Right? No, Slakia Matwa. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, security announcements. We are the ICPK started out of 1 West, 125th Street, out of New York, under Commanding General Lehan. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother comes into the school, they are off limit for 6 months. They have to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the word. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from them to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from their marriage. That, which is a commandment. You can find this Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. It means 10 in Hebrew, and it's pronounced on my 10 means 10 in Hebrew, and it's pronounced Maisha. 10% of every penny the Lord gives to the treasury department of teacher. Priest fund, period offering for priests. Not mandatory whatsoever amount you like to give. A common holy convocation, your common holy convocation is the Lord's Passover, 15th day of the first month. You can find this in Exodus chapter 12, verse 1 to 51, Leviticus chapter 23, chapter 4, verse 5, 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, 2 Corinthians chapter 30, verse 31, that could be April 25th, 2025. Remind our children about them to check on social media such as isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in school, then he needs to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, like pants, like shoes, like headband, scarf. With that being said, madam, the pan you put you can stand and face these. You're going to see the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Shabbat Shalom. What up? Yeah. Oh.
In the English, your Father,
Our Father,
who
art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. When they say the hakak or the power, in the Hebrew, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Babakusha, Natan Lanawa, Hakak, Hakak, La Rapa'a, Kalma Kala, Wakalma Dawo, Hakak, Lataha, Amatazarium, Hakak, La Hakwayam, Amatayam, Hakak, Ai Rakawat, Atamala, La Gawashan, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Tawadaman. In the name of Yahweh Shai, give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you. So be it. We're going to say the prayer of the blessings in Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh, wa Yahweh Shai, wa Makala, wa Alahayam, Matazabia, Alawap Yahana, ha Alawapiam, Asaranyam, ha Kwatazalianyam, ha Yakayal Yam, Wakwatiam, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Tawadaman. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, Commanding General Hannah, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you. So be it. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, name of Yahweh Shai. Listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel, that refuse to give to the school, force their riches, to enter into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us. To enter into thy sanctuary, send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the Edomites and their nation, drug dealers, court system, prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the government of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, the Roman Catholic Church, Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Posikomatasi, gay movement, lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space program, the Army, the Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet and the airways, the cable access channels and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way and try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro to the earth and consume them. Let the plagues shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahweh Shai, Michael and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathen that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all. That's the angel that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media, throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you always. So be it. Sir, men of Israel, let's give the teacher one courtesy salute. I'm Adam Shabbat. I'm Adam. Barak. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatah. Yadimata, sir. Men of Israel, let's give these sisters online a one courtesy salute. I'm Madam Shabbat. I'm Madam. Barak. Yahweh Shema Elatan, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Yadimata, class dismissed.
To Atlanta. Crisis Officer Clyde Thousand, Jeremiah Yachty, Camp Leader of Atlanta. Passover 2025. Starting April the 9th, we got the lamb slaughter. April the 10th, we got General Muhammad's class. April the 11th, we got the black party that's going to have the Hebrew graduation. April the 12th, in Atlanta, Georgia, the 56th annual Passover, the only Passover under Commended Junior Hunter.
Our great and holy King has honored us for turning our lives from the darkness to the light, man. There's no greater gift you can receive than to wake up to the truth and then commit your life to saving your brothers, man. Looking in their eyes and seeing their faces and seeing what they've suffered and what they've gone through and seeing the end of it, man. It is a guaranteed seat in the kingdom of heaven, man. So in the name of our King Yahushua, we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives being saved.
April the 13th, we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Shalom.